welcome into the Flippin Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star, and with me today I have Sarah Boykin, whose name is so fun to say.
Thank you. It's fun to be said.
Boykin. If you guys are here watching, let us know in the chat. Say hi to us. We're here to answer questions. Sarah knows a lot about Poshmark, and I don't talk about Poshmark enough on this channel, so ask away. She can help you. I've learned a lot from her and Tiffany that I had on last week. I never can talk on Fridays. I probably shouldn't do my live show on the day I'm fried, right?
It's okay. I'm here to help you, and we'll piece it together. We'll figure it out.
So I've learned a lot about Poshmark from Sarah. So if you have questions, ask her. It's later than usual, so I'm probably going to be even more loopy and tired, and that's fine because it's Friday.
It is Friday. Yeah, I had to join a little bit later today just because I coach at Orange Theory, and I just coached 3 classes. I've been going since like 9:50 this morning, which what is that? Noon 50 your time? Noon 50. So
I've never met anybody else who says it that way. Like I say noon 30 and noon 15.
You do?
I do, and people make fun of me.
They might otherwise think it's midnight. You have to be clear.
Well, and I say midnight 30 and midnight 15. Noon p.m.
Well, here we are doing all the things.
Yeah, I knew I liked you. What do you coach?
I coach Orange Theory Fitness. It's a franchise that's been around 13 years now. It is treads, rowers, weight floor, and high intensity interval training, but with a heart rate monitor. So lots of data, which is fun. And I just coached a strength class as well. So lots of picking up heavy things, putting heavy things down to make sure that you can always lift your Costco and put it into your trunk or your heavy IKEA bags from the bins.
I miss the day. I don't know if you know if I told you when we met in person. I have a bad back. I have like an old injury. So I can't lift more than 5 pounds. And for reference, folks, that's a gallon of milk. But I need
milk.
I'm going to do that. I just instilled Keith as the pack mule for all things.
Well, I'm also a therapist, so my positive reframe to that would be, Star, that you always get to have nice nails because you're too dainty to pick things up.
I bite, but I do walk on a treadmill.
Yeah, that's good.
So, you guys, if you are limited, just find ways. I have like 3 rolly chairs in my office, so Keith can put heavy stuff on and I can move him around where I need. So I'm capable of, I don't have to keep calling him up here when I'm working and taking pictures. I have a system of sliding things down the stairs too.
Oh,
I can put them at the top and I kick them.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
It actually is. And I yell, incoming! And he knows I'm throwing. But yeah, I always like to tell people, because a lot of people that watch my channel are also disabled in some way, and that's why they watch me, to see how I do things.
Yep.
Like I would say, don't give up, just because like I can't do what Sarah does anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't walk on a treadmill.
Yeah, you're right. And I would say uniquely abled, right? We have to find our own ways to be able to do whatever it is we're trying to do.
Yep. And I do walk outside, and I prefer that, but it's 28 degrees in Pittsburgh right now. So treadmill and true crime it is.
At least it keeps you tuned in, it's interesting while you do it.
Yes. And then it's facing the window, so I can kind of still look outside. We live, our house backs up to the woods, and that's where my window looks out on. So even in the winter, it's pretty. Not as pretty as other seasons, but it's still lots of trees.
And you see wild animals there too, right?
Oh my goodness, not right now, but I have so many animals that I feed. I'm like Snow White.
That's what I was going to say. She's a Disney princess.
I have a deck out back, and I feed deers, raccoons, possums, chipmunks, squirrels, and we have a vast array of like 50 different kinds of birds that come in. And I put out the food, and I'm like,
Yay, we have all friends joining us from all over.
Nice. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. And she's been watching my bullet journal series and just so excited about it.
That's wonderful.
Longtime viewer. I think you've been around since.
Everybody's been into the bullet journaling lately.
Yeah, I've been doing it since 2010, maybe 2012.
Oh, gee.
Prior to that, I follow Fly Lady. So prior to that, I did like a version of the control journal that Fly Lady does. And prior to that, I always had date planners. Did y'all hear that cha-ching? Let's see what's sold. I'm going to start giving stuff out when I sell on a live show.
Oh, that's really fun.
So I do keep one. And then I teach other people how to do it as well. And I even tried to get artistic this year.
That's been the big difference, I think, of what bullet journaling is versus just like creating schedules is like the artistic aspect, right?
Yes, but I'm not artistic. So normally I just deal with adding stickers.
I like it.
And color coding. Brain fart. Because I'm thinking about in the new year, every time I make a sale on a live show, I'm going to give away one of our new guides that we're working on.
That's fun. We'll be here for that for sure.
All right. So normally I start out by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Certainly.
I'm such a great interviewer.
So I am originally from Phoenix, Arizona, hence my 6-year-old's name, Phoenix. Mm-hmm. I moved to the Bay Area, Silicon Valley 8 years ago because my husband had a postdoc at Stanford. And similar to most people who live in Silicon Valley, even if you're not in tech, somehow you end up in tech. So I had a short stint working at a startup called FanDate that allowed you to FaceTime with your favorite celebrities. I was their community manager. And my husband ended up leaving academia entirely and worked at Facebook for the last 5 years. This used to be a Facebook picture, but he was unfortunately part of the big layoffs in April. So we are on month 8 of him going through very long interviews. Something will pan out, but we're at that part of the year where everyone says, we're going to circle back in 2024. So we're hopeful for what's to come and still doing the dang thing. And then in addition to reselling, I also coach at Orange Theory, like I said, and I am a mental health counselor. I've been practicing therapy for, like 13 years now. So I just think all of them fill my cup differently. And I think a lot of us in the reselling space, we have a little bit of ADD, ADHD that we kind of use to our benefit. So we weirdly organize things in our mind. And so I feel similar in that, like, reselling, personal training, and therapy, they all fill my cup differently. Mm-hmm. And if I did any one of them for an extended period of time, I would get bored or burned out. So that's why I diversify that way.
I'm actually type A OCD. There's not a drop of ADD in me. Unhealthily so, I'm able to like hyper concentrate or hyper focus. So I only do reselling, and I'm like, people ask me how I do it, and I do it. I can sit for 8 hours at a time and just photograph chains as long as I have something on the TV.
Yeah.
But that's another type of neurodivergency. And I think all resellers have some. Listen, y'all, I mean this with love because I'm diagnosed with anxiety and OCD and sometimes depression. I think all resellers have some kind of mental health issues or diseases. I don't like to call them that. Mental health struggles. And that's why we end up being resellers, because it's easier for us to work for ourselves than other people. And a lot of us too, like I said, that watch this channel also have a lot of physical disabilities. And it's always easier to work for yourself and create your own schedules. Mm-hmm. But if you're anxious, if you have anxiety or if you have a bad back, you can take a day off and not get fired.
Yeah. I think you're onto something in that. I think that all of us had to have some level of dedication to somebody else, maybe, that we don't want to go back to that, right? We know what the alternative is if it's not working for ourselves. So that's why I think some of us succeed in doing this and can continue to like build those systems or like do it whatever way works for us. And then other people might try it, but it's like something they do either as a hobby or that they don't stick with, maybe stop doing it. Heather said she had a customer make a bundle on Mercari and the shipping was almost 2 times what they paid for. Girl.
So I just had this happen also, and I can tell you what we did. And I can also tell you it's probably not what you should do or the correct way to do things, but I do what I want. So the reason I ran into the issue is I do charge shipping on Mercari, except for jeans and denim coats and things that weigh over a pound, because they do not offer the flat rate envelope option. And I know that customers don't want to pay $13 for their American Eagle jeans to ship. So I just add $10 to the price I want. So I do like 20 free ship or whatever. If they buy something you have listed with you paying shipping and something that they paid shipping on in a bundle, you can't change the weight when you go to print the bundle. So if it wasn't mix and match, I had to go to Reddit. I had to Google. I didn't ask anyone else. That's part of the type A, I think. I don't go to Facebook groups. I don't ask friends. I research. But from what I understand, it's because it was a mix and match. Like, obviously, if they had both been free shipping, I could have done whatever I wanted on Pirate Ship. And if both of my labels had been buyer paid, then Mercari would have taken the weight from both and combined it. But because the jacket was free shipping, they just stuck it with the shirt with like the 6-ounce weight. So here's what we did. I mean, this literally just happened Wednesday. I don't know what day it is. I messaged the buyer, crossing my fingers that they were semi-smart and kind of nice and not mean, and explained the situation. And I said, what I can do is print the label Mercari gave me to ship your shirt. And at our cost, none to you, we'll get a separate label for your jacket and give you the tracking number and ship them at the same time. And she was fine with it. So I just did a flat rate $7.60 cardboard mailer on Pirate Ship, gave her the tracking number. She was really sweet. She got both today. She's already let me know they're there. So it was probably Wednesday. That was a long story, but it happened.
Yeah. And it happens to all of us. And I think what I would say to Heather is like, because I think we all have those experiences where, and I feel this of life, like every good lesson I learn is an expensive one. Like, let's say I'm speeding, for example, and I get pulled over. Like I'll remember it when I had to pay for the ticket. So yeah, I had a really expensive, unfortunate experience that recently happened with eBay that made me so happy to be a Poshmark seller, because I had this beautiful, I'm still mourning over it, beautiful Kate Spade cashmere silk dress. I bought it at Goodwill for like $10. The shipping was like $10. I shipped it out. The buyer paid like $80 for it. It shipped out November 14th. I had no idea. It never started tracking. And I had no idea until I went onto eBay the beginning of this month and I saw I no longer had 100% rating.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, what? So then I reached out to the buyer and I was like, I had no idea this hadn't arrived to you. And I imagine that larger volume sellers have a really hard time keeping track of this. And so we had good communication, but basically for me to get another 100% rating and have her change it, it meant that I refunded her. And so I'm out pretty much like $100, the cost of the shipping, the cost of what she paid, and then my initial cost, but I'm back to 100%. So paid $100 for 100%.
Oh gosh. I just had an issue on Poshmark. I know you love Poshmark and typically they're great. I'll tell the story and then I'll tell you my theory and why I'm being forgiving. So someone opened a return on Poshmark because you guys know the little leather patch on the back of jeans.
Mm-hmm.
She said it appeared darker in person than in my photo. And so I wrote back and said, well, I use professional lighting and that's not a reason for a return. And I'm not entertaining it. This is Poshmark where all sales are final. And I thought that would be the end of it. Well, Poshmark approved her return, but the message they put with the approval was, yes, we can see the frayed and damaging to this item you mentioned in the photos. So I wrote customer service and I'm waiting to hear back, but this is my theory. And this is what I said to them very nicely. I said, I understand we're all stressed out and Q4, everyone's really busy. I don't know if you have a lot of cases you're reviewing, but are you sure mine was the right one that you were looking at? Because they approved it for a completely different reason. Like, I think somebody else opened a case and said this item was frayed and damaged.
Mm-hmm.
They approved mine and put that.
Did your buyer take a photo of this patch?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it look darker in their photo or did they just have
No.
lighting?
It just looked like they had darker lighting. But the approval reason was we can see the frayed edges and the damage you mentioned.
Oh, which is not what was mentioned.
Right.
So you think the cases got mixed up?
I think they're doing too much.
That's
I think
stinky.
they're busy and they're doing too much. So
I'm sorry to hear it. I find that usually after over a certain price, they will like if it's under a certain price, let's say it's like under $20, usually they'll ask if the buyer wants to keep it and they will give them credit to keep it because sometimes it's more expensive for them to just like send the label for them to ship it back because Poshmark pays for the return label, which is really nice. I feel like that's one of the other benefits that we get with the 20%. So if it's over a certain price though, I've had it too, like if I've bought like luxury pieces and it's not exactly as described where they'll say, well, I'll give you a $50 Posh credit if you keep this item. Which I've done before. Like sometimes they didn't disclose something, but it's such a minor thing.
Yeah. And sometimes when a buyer on Poshmark will try to open for fit reason, which isn't a reason for Poshmark because they don't, people new to the platform don't know. A trick you can use, and Sarah's probably done this too, is to say, I'm sorry, fit isn't a reason for return on Poshmark. Be polite, but say you're more than welcome to use my photos to resell the item.
Yep.
Usually it's like killing people with kindness kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's always a better outcome because then you don't ruin the chance of that person being a buyer in the future.
Macari shipping prices are awful. I prefer they go to 20% fees and a flat rate like Poshmark. Their shipping prices are and are not awful. It depends on the weight of your item. Most of my plushies that are under 8 ounces are comparable to the flat rate I charge on eBay, like $5. That's reasonable. Jeans up to a pound are like $6.99, which is reasonable. I think it's when you get over a pound, Macari gets out of control and they don't have any flat rate options. That's the crazy part.
Is this unpopular opinion? But I just like to use pirate ship.
It's not an unpopular opinion. Until August of this year, we did free shipping everywhere. eBay, Macari. We just built it into the price. And then I used pirate ship for all of my Macari. We're doing a thing. And through the end of the year, we switched to charging shipping, and I think we're hemming and hawing about whether we're going to go back or not. It was just an experiment.
There's I'm finding it has a lot to do with the culture of the app that you're on because some places like Depop expects it, right? But then Poshmark doesn't necessarily expect it. They like a shipping discount, but I don't often discount shipping on Posh. I will discount the item significantly to include the cost of what the shipping would be so that it doesn't eat further into my costs. So for example, if something I have listed for 50, if I send someone an offer, I'll send them an offer for like, let's say like maybe 40 or 38 so that it will not be an additional charge to them. Like, you know, when it hits you right in the gut because you see the 50 and all of a sudden it's at 60 and you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah. You just have to play around. Like I've been lowering my prices a little bit on Poshmark since August, but only by like $5. So for example, we're going to do easy math here, folks, because Star's an English major. American Eagle jeans are $20, period. Whether you do free shipping or charge shipping, American Eagle jeans should be $20. So you can do 10 on eBay plus 10 shipping, 12 plus 8, 20 free. So what I used to do is put those on Poshmark at 20, but they're still paying that $7, and I would try to offer 20 or 30% off. When I started putting them up for 17, now I subtract 5 for the shipping and then I add 10%, so I have room to do 30% off. So the $20 American Eagles now go on Poshmark for 17. I can offer down to 12, and I'm getting the same amount that I would on eBay, but they feel like they're getting a deal versus when I used to put them up for 20, they're paying 27 because of the shipping.
Mm-hmm.
So my Poshmark has doubled in sales since I started this method.
That's smart. Yeah, I do think you have to kind of address with like what's the culture of the platform, because eBay, not a lot of people send offers. They kind of expect to just pay outright. So when I've been using List Perfectly to cross list, I've been mindful of what's it priced at Poshmark, because generally it's priced up so that there's room to offer a discount. But I've been pricing lower now on eBay so that it fits that customer expectation.
I price high. I've been called greedy. I just don't want to be a part of the problem of racing to the bottom. I've seen so many brands just tank.
Mm-hmm.
And we, like I mentioned, we're working on our guides for 24. So Keith and I are updating all of the sell-through rates and average sell prices on thousands of brands used, new men's, women's, jeans, everything, Plush. And woo, guys, stuff that used to sell for $80, average sell price is now 20. Stop it.
It's changed though a lot though. When I think about the pandemic and how well like loungewear was selling, how well like Outdoor Voices, Girlfriend Collective, like all that, or soft surroundings, like things that used to do really well. And now, we're having to compete with people being back in stores again. So I just think similar to everything, you just have to be ready for the pivot.
Yeah, and the economy is weird right now, but I can say that every single brand has gone up in how many are listed and down in how many have sold.
Mm.
So there's definitely, I think there's less buyers, but there are so many more people selling. And this is my theory, and I want to hear yours. But I think as the economy gets worse, you're going to have more resellers, because if like you're a single mom and your groceries went up 50%, you're struggling to make ends meet. You might think, well, let me go clean out the kids' old clothes that don't fit in anymore and put them on eBay. Now, she's not an educated reseller. She doesn't understand the race to the bottom or how to comp stuff. In her mind, I paid $10 originally for these Cat and Jack kids jeans, so I'm cool getting 8 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so as people need, it's like an extra gig for some people. Selling on eBay is kind of part of that gig economy where they'll do DoorDash or sell on eBay to make ends meet or for holiday money, but they're not resellers. Mm-hmm. So they're flooding the market with stuff, but they'll bring the prices down as well.
Oh, yeah. And in flooding the market, then they're also flooding the newsfeed or the stream, right? It's like harder to find those items. I've noticed, and tell me your thoughts on this, since live selling has really taken off, it's harder to compete if you're selling used things, because so many people are liquidating new with tags. And they paid such a low price that they don't mind to flip it for less, as long as they don't have to hang on to it. They'll take it directly out of the giant Gaylord, right? And they're just like selling it directly. So for a person who maybe curates like I do, like I'll go to the thrift and I'll really like look for specific types of things, be it like long dresses for holiday or I don't know, like Y2K jeans. Mine is like much more curated. Theirs is kind of like they're blind, taking it out of the box and then selling it for much less.
That, and there's also a mentality, and I'm here to tell you, please don't have this mentality, but well, I only paid whatever for it. It's worth what it's worth, regardless of what you paid for it. Mm-hmm. If Miss Me jeans are valued at $50 and I can get them in Pittsburgh for 99 cents, they're still worth $50. Just because you paid less doesn't mean something's worth less.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have that, well, I only paid, and I'm not a storage unit. Then buy better stuff. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't want to do high volume, don't do it. I come across a little snarky, but this is what I'm known for, the tough love.
Yeah.
If you have that mentality of, well, I'm not a storage unit, then don't buy American Eagle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you want to be a volume bread and butter seller, which is what we are, we have room for it. I
Mhm.
can list 5,000 plushies and they can all take 2 years to sell and I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get off that horse.
Preach. Yes,
Yeah,
soapbox.
but seriously,
I think
like you're
one of my personal goals this year has been to kind of move away from more of the volume selling. I noticed it last year. I was getting burnt out on the live sales because I was using it as a process for liquidation and it was really bringing down my ASP. So my focus this year has been on better curation of what I'm picking up. And I've really increased my average sales price by $15 an item as a result. So I don't care if I'm carrying less as long as I'm picking up things that people want.
yes.
You know,
So there's really only 2 business models. Higher dollar items sold less. That doesn't make sense. I have an English major.
higher dollar items sold less frequently. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
following.
thank you.
We're
So
with you.
less volume, higher dollar.
Universe.
You can be a Walmart or you can be Dolce Gabbana. I was going to try to say Yves Saint Laurent, but I never say it. I think I just did say it right. No?
We're not French. We don't have to.
Well, they say on the commercial, Yves Saint Laurent.
Yeah. I only know that because I've been watching the Beckham documentary and that's a frequent advertiser.
Yes, all the fragrances, but it tickles me. So every time it comes on, I look at Keith and go, Yves Saint Laurent.
Yeah.
I'm a high volume, but I live in an area where I can get tons of really good bread and butter for 99 cents a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm spending, $300 a week, but turning that into 3,000, and I'm fine with that.
I love that. My recent thing has been buy it with the specific goal of wearing it until it sells. So great example today. I just shipped out a Patagucci fleece. I went to Minnesota last month for Thanksgiving. My in-laws live there. So I went to Savers and specifically went looking for Patagonia, found a jacket, found that fleece, wore both of them in Minnesota. They kept me so warm. The temperature was -1 degree with the wind chill. And then I've flipped both of them. So I paid in total for both of them $50 and they sold together for like $120. And it was functional. Love that.
So speaking of Sarah thrifting.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys, I got to meet her in person at Camp Listening Party. And we had the opportunity to go thrifting together. And we had so much fun. In fact, one of my favorite memories of Sarah is you and me standing in the middle of the thrift store in everybody's way watching those dumb YouTube videos. Do you remember that?
Would you look at that?
Yes, and then the sponge lady.
Oh, the sponge lady. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to find some links real quick. So there's this guy on YouTube that did this skit. It's hilarious. I'm gonna link it. Don't watch it now, watch it later. But y'all, he's so funny and he just keeps repeating himself. Would you look at this? Look at it. Just look at it. Look at it. So when we were in the thrift store, I was saying that, and Sarah looked at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, no, this guy is so funny. So I pulled him up on my phone. We were in like the middle of the dresses or something. We were in everybody's way. And we were red. We were cry laughing. And then she goes, wait, I got to show you this one. That lady with the
rainbow sponge.
That's what I would look up.
Yeah.
So now we're laughing even harder. And people were trying
that
to
was the store that I was convinced that I wasn't going to find anything. And then I found a pair of Rothy's.
Oh, yes. That's what I'm about to show. I don't know what I just put in the chat.
Oh, wow.
Hold on.
Guys, she's fishing. That all looks like spam links to me.
Don't click those. Just look up Rainbow Sponge Lady. And would you look at that? I copied I don't know. But anyway, yeah. I just have this memory of me and Sarah standing in the middle and just like.
That's funny. Casey and I were looking who could outdo each other with the uglier wedding dress. And then we were like shocked by the price. There were like hideous wedding dresses that were going for like $130. Would you look at that? How many of those are? Look at so many of us in the mirror. Just keeps going into oblivion.
Goes. So,
oh, there's my mom.
Let's look at the shoes. I think this is it.
Even though it's stained, the wonderful thing about Roxy's is they're made of recycled water bottles. They are sustainable. You just throw them in the wash. I could let this sit in some
There's Samantha.
OxyClean. She'll be good as new. It's a light pink color. Love it. These retail for about $160. They hold their value. If they're in excellent condition, they can resell for $150. They were made popular by Kate Middleton and others, but they're very comfortable shoes.
But look at that. We were thrifting and she was educating all of us. The whole
I
time.
sold those shoes for $80. I think I paid $7 for them.
And before you, I had never known they were made out of recycled water bottles. I just knew that they were a bolo.
I have a good way of identifying too if they're real or not. You have to look at the logo and how like sharp the top of it is. Also making sure when you lift up underneath that they're made in China, not made in the USA.
Sorry, I was reading the comments. And then we have a section. This was the cutest thing ever. So a bunch of us were over in this little area where they had these couches and we're sitting. We were joking around. This is the VIP lounge.
The couches that were for sale, by the way.
Yeah.
You were testing them all out.
So we were sitting there saying it was VIP. And Sarah gets up and holds court, you guys. She got in front of everyone and pulled every piece out of her cart and talked to us about the brand and the style and the design and why she was sourcing it and why it was a good find and what it would sell for. So not only are you fun to thrift with, it's also an educational experience because you're very willing to share all of that knowledge with everyone. So we're going to take a little look.
I'm going to look back at this now and say, like, that hasn't sold yet. That hasn't sold yet.
But yeah, I really appreciated the fact that she just is so kind. And because you know how some people are very obsessive of their knowledge.
This is the list party VIP section. As you can see, we have retreated to the relaxation couches. Executive lounge.
Okay, so that was where we were. And then Sarah.
I can't see it though. Is it up there?
Yeah. No.
There's your screen.
Hold on a minute, guys. I do YouTube for a living.
There you go. There you go.
Lord Almighty.
I'll be the person to tell you if you have lettuce in your teeth. Like, that's me.
I'm glad.
Oh. Yep. Okay, next we have, and this is the only reason we're people have poorly priced her online. This is Zwamp.
Zwamp.
That looks like a flapper style.
Zwamp. How do you spell that?
Joip.
Okay.
Wait, is that how yes.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, that's adorable.
Oh my gosh, that's so bright.
And bigger.
That is so July, August. Redemption.
There you go with your, but I could wear this one.
You know what was the best find of that day? And I'm still so excited about it. I paid up. I've never found this before. They were a pair of Keen boots, like knee-high level riding boots. I didn't even know Keen made riding boots.
Wow.
Or like fashion. I paid $15 for them. They sold for $100 while I was at Disneyland. I was very excited to ship those out.
Paid your tickets in, man.
Yeah, it paid for the day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I very much run my life like that. Like if I'm at Disneyland, I'm making sure that I'm making sales that day to pay for that day's fun.
Yes, me too. And I always have things scheduled. So if I take a day off, on eBay you can schedule. If I take a day off and I'm sitting at the movie theater watching the new Marvel movie, in the back of my mind, I'm going, yep, 20 new listings are going up right now. and I'm watching a movie. I feel like I'm working when I'm not working. It's fun. I guess I've only asked you one interview question. I told you we'd walk in.
That's okay. I enjoy chatting.
So your favorite platform clearly is Poshmark.
Poshmark is not only my favorite platform, I feel like it's my catalog. Everything that I have that's live goes on Posh, and then I cross-list it everywhere else, which has actually been really helpful with friends who are local and are interested. Like I've had friends recently been like, I have parties coming up. I send them my whole Posh Closet and I tell them, what do you like in here? I'll pull it for you. You can try it on in person, and then I'll take it off the platform. But yeah, it just like it's my reselling documentation.
You even did a live Poshmark show from Camp Listing Party.
I did. That was a lot of fun because
Fine.
everyone was watching downstairs and we were filming upstairs, and there was a banister and people would buy things and I'd throw it over the banister to them sitting down below.
Yes, I was sitting with them. Things were just flying down, and Doug was up there with you being a silly guy.
Oh yeah.
Almost called him a dingbat. Doug, you're a dingbat. He's scheduled to come on here New Year's Eve weekend. Please do come on.
Yes, I would love to see him.
So Poshmark's your favorite, but where else do you sell?
I do sell on eBay, although eBay and I are in a fight as of that recent falling out with the Kate Spade dress, but at least I'm back to 100%. I was in a relationship with Tradesy, and I'm sad about Vestiaire because I do okay. She'll surprise me. She's like gas money because she'll be like, oh, anything that's over $50, I'll list on Vestiaire. And Vestiaire is interesting because they just take $15. Like,
sorry about that.
What it is. What's that?
Oh, you didn't hear that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I accidentally started playing a video.
Oh, but Vestiaire is also a little tedious and annoying because 5 days in it will be like, your item hasn't sold after 5 days, or your item hasn't sold after 72 hours. And it's telling me to reduce the price. And I'm like, why? Why after 3 days does it need to sell? That just feels.
Yeah. And I mean, I can speak for eBay. Sell-through rates are going to be a little bit different depending on the platform. But part of what we do when we do this guide, we do the average sell price and the sell-through rate. The majority of clothing is actually very slow. The majority of clothing is under 30%.
Yeah.
There's very few, and we color code it. So red is slow, yellow is medium, and green is fast. There's a sprinkling of yellow. 5 years ago, we had chunks of yellow when we started doing these guides. And now, we update them every year. So most clothing is red, and there's very few green, which is like 60% or higher.
What do you categorize as green? Like, how quickly does it have to sell to be green?
We calculate the sell-through rate based on a formula, based on research through therapy. So it's not like it's how many are listed versus how many have sold in a period of time. And it's actually a math formula that Keith has put into the spreadsheet. So I just have to put in, and it does it for me. It comes up with that percentage. So it's the eBay sell-through rate. Most of you are familiar with the percentage, like how many are listed versus how many have sold.
The platform that's really been wowing me lately, and maybe Tiff can speak to this in the comments also, has been Kitizen. At Boss Reseller Remix, we had the opportunity to meet Dory, who is the founder of Kitizen. Kitizen is moms and kids clothes. And they have this really cool program called the Style Scout program. Are you familiar with that?
Did you meet her at Boss or Camp?
I met her at Camp, excuse me.
I
met her at Camp Listing Party.
I think I was at your table. And
yeah.
When we learned about it. Not to correct you, but I didn't go to Boss. So I'm like, did I go and
she had a table. We had a table too. Tiff and I were talking about Posh, but we went to her like workshop, and the Style Scout program, they normally only open up to people who have sold more than 300 items, which at the time I had only sold like 12. it through the app, you can select like find a style scout and it will find someone in your area. And then those moms that don't have time to consign their clothes, or they don't have the setup, or they don't know how to sell, they will meet me somewhere, or I will go to their home and pick it up. And I got 3 huge tubs from a woman in Palo Alto back in October. And I had 2 dresses yesterday that sold within 12 hours. I'm getting like Eleanor Rose from them. There was a dress I was really wowed by. I'd never heard of this brand because I don't sell a ton of kids clothes, called Pleiades.
Mhm.
The dress, when I looked on Kidizen, I have it listed for $124. It's a size 6 and it's like linen, and it came in a dust bag, but the app was telling me to sell it for like $131. And I was like, that's crazy. So I have it marked at that. And but a lot of the stuff that I'm selling, yes, it's consignment, but it's selling for like $30 for kids' clothes. That's amazing.
Ridiculously outstanding.
Yeah.
For kids' clothes.
Yeah.
I don't really mess around with kids' clothes,
Mm-hmm.
but I buy a lot of wholesale. So I get kids' clothes, and anything I buy in a wholesale lot, unless it's completely damaged,
Mm-hmm.
it gets listed. Because I'm like, I paid one price for everything to be delivered directly to my door. Everything in that, I'm going to pinch every little penny I can out of there. So I list everything. I had a brief fling with Kidizen. I talked to Dory, and I came home like all energized and like, okay, I'm going to change things. And then I got the Lyme disease and we're in the hospital, and our Kidizen was just not doing very well. So for Q4, we did make the executive decision. We broke up with Grailed and Kidizen. We ended all of our items on there, and we're just focusing solely on our main 3.
Mm-hmm.
And
Macari is our 3rd.
Macari's our 3rd.
Okay.
Although our Macari and our Poshmark take turns. eBay's our number 1, but our Poshmark will be on fire for like a week, selling hundreds of dollars, and Macari's like really quiet. And then Poshmark will go really quiet, and Macari will wake up, and we'll sell hundreds of items and hundreds of dollars on there. And then it's like they take turns. They're never on fire at the same time. It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
So in the new year, we're going to take a look, and everyone should, by the way, no matter how much you love your main platform, you should be cross-posting somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because putting all your eggs in one basket is just asking for trouble.
Yeah. Especially if you have a problem like with a buyer or something goes wrong where your account's shut down. Much better to have it diversified. You just protect yourself.
Yep. And you got more eyeballs, because different people look at Macari than Poshmark than eBay.
Mm-hmm.
It's different age groups, different types of people, some people just Google, and Poshmark is really good on Google. Let me say that. When you search for something on Google, Poshmark will usually show up ahead of Pinterest even.
Mm-hmm.
And Macari and eBay. So it's just a good idea to cross post. You get more eyeballs on your items. You're protected. And I will also say this: if anyone watching is an influencer and you're on YouTube or Instagram, you may want to have a second secret eBay account. And that's also just for protection. Because, if I say the wrong thing one day, I'm like, y'all are turds racing to the bottom, and the wrong person gets mad and buys like 20 items on eBay, and then INADs me on all 20. I could be in serious trouble, but I do have a secret one. I'll just fall back over there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a good idea.
It's interesting you say that. I feel like this is a secret that I'm going to share here because this feels like a safe space. I actually have a second Poshmark account. You're not supposed to. Reason being is that sometimes I like to source on Poshmark, especially from people who haven't taken great photos or they're just liquidating their luxury. And I don't want them to look at my account and see how much stuff I've sold and say like, this lady's being greedy. So I'll use the other account.
Well, that way you don't have flat payback.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could get mad and buy something from you and then say it wasn't as described, or they always say don't source from your account you sell on.
Yeah.
It's the reason I have 2 Instagrams as well. I have one that's for the reselling community, for my reselling friends, where I can talk about what I'm thrifting, and I have an Instagram I sell on. The people that buy from me over here don't want to know that $80 World of Warcraft plush was 50 cents at the church sale. It's just going to piss them off, right?
Oh, yeah.
But my reseller friends don't want to buy from me. They're not there to shop. They're there to see what I'm sourcing, what I'm selling, what I'm putting on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we have a secret eBay. We use it for items that I don't want to share. Oh, thank you.
So nice.
I need a dancing hippo. Here you go. We'll get 2. Thank you for the money. Thank you for the money. Thank you for feeding a hungry hippo today. Yay! So the secret eBay is my backup in case I make someone angry and I have to shut down the hippo hut. But I shouldn't say Keith does sell and list certain items that I don't share on my YouTube. Nothing illegal or controversial. Just you can't share everything. Some things you have to keep close to the vest. So he has a Shopify and an Amazon and an eBay for those things. I will say that most of them are electronics. I mean, you guys know Keith is a nerd. So, but a lot of people have secret accounts, and I don't see anything wrong with it. You have to have backup plans.
Yeah. And like my Depop is the only place that I listed Assless Chaps. I would never put the Assless Chaps on my Poshmark.
Assless Chaps.
Yes, there are people going to raves. Somebody gave them to me to consign. They were not mine.
You can wear them over jeans on Halloween.
They were pink and they were cute. You can actually email and twist a second account. You're not supposed to have it, but we all know why we do.
Yeah. I'm not going to go on eBay sniping people to purchase items for resale so they can come see what I'm selling it for. I'm going to use Keith's account, or our secret account, I should say. I call it his account because that's where he puts stuff he deals with. But
Cha-Cha Ching wishes that he waited before I said Assless Chaps. You never know what's coming.
Not when Sarah's around. So I would say Instagram to this question. I have bought, by the way, here, let me give her a shout out, guys. I bought the BuildABear wholesale lot from Jay, and you guys, it was already paid for itself. I did do an unboxing on this channel. I'm going to link it so you guys can watch it at your leisure if you want. But I did buy from Jay I don't remember how much it weighed. It was big, and I only paid $50 plus shipping. And it was BuildABear clothes and shoes and accessories. So a lot of the accessories are still sitting behind me on the floor in an I don't want to pile. I immediately dug into the clothes and the shoes and made little outfits and got everything listed. She got it shipped to me the week of Thanksgiving, and by the end of the weekend, everything was listed. Except for the big doghouse and the big accessories. There's a chair I have to blow up. And then we've been making sales since. And like on the 4th sale, the box paid for itself.
That's so
nice. I made 50.
I love that feeling, because then everything that comes in, not that you're trying to cheapen it, but it's like you're willing to let it go for maybe a little bit less. I would ask Jay if Jay is in like a Facebook group, posting it to other resellers, letting other resellers know.
I would just be careful with that, because like I have a Facebook group and that's against the rules.
Yeah, you have to go to ones where it's okay, obviously.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you've had somebody who's had a good experience like you've had, Star, then you're more likely to come back and be a buyer. I feel like it's just like establishing consignment clients. Once you have them, they'll come back.
Yeah, for sure. And I can tell you guys, she was completely honest and upfront. There were some outfits that weren't BuildABear branded. She let me know, and I'm like, whatever. Most of them are. They're cute. And the way it was packaged, can we just talk about that for a minute? It soothed my OCD. My insomnia was gone for one whole day just from looking at Jay's packaging. She had layers of bubble wrap. She had the shoes in one section, the clothes packed away in little Build-A-Bear backpacks, folded all cute. If you watch the unboxing, I gushed for like 10 minutes about, oh my gosh, this packing, because I loved it. And thanks to her, I have all this extra bubble wrap I keep down here in my Goodwill bag, and we've been recycling it for Keith Electronics. So
I think Whatnot could be another good platform to do wholesale lots, because I feel like Posh shows are much more buyers, but Whatnot I'm finding is a lot of resellers.
Yeah. Actually, my friend Robert, he's a huge Posh seller. If you probably don't know him, but my viewers do. He'll be on next week for a special Christmas show. He goes on Whatnot and finds people doing the Plush shows and kind of like gauges, oh, they're starting most of them at 3 and there's like 50. So they're not going to sell them all. So that's like 150. So he'll offer them like 100. I'll buy everything in your show for $100. And he'll just buy them out.
That's so nice.
Thanks so much for the shout out. I mean, her packing skills are the bomb, but I'm telling you, what she gave me was exactly what was in the pictures. She was honest and upfront. There were some clothes, Build-A-Bear clothes that had like little stains or just something wrong with them. She had those separate in a Ziploc bag marked. Like, these are the ones that aren't great. She sent me. Don't mind my big yardstick. This is how I make straight lines in my bullet journal. She sent me
I'm imagining your tiny little journal with this huge yardstick.
So what I have to do is open it and face the spiral towards me. And I do it on my table I do shipping on. But she sent me a little card.
Have you ever heard of a ruler, Star?
Well, I don't have a ruler because all of my measuring apparatuses are the old lady hanging ones.
Oh, yeah.
These. So I have all of these because this is how I measure clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, those cannot be trusted to make straight lines. No, you're right.
No. I have tons of these and tons of the little ones you pull. So I go to Keith's grandma and I'm like, do you have a ruler? I need a ruler to make my planner for next year. And she's like, yeah, here you go.
That's what she gives you.
And I'm like, it'll work.
Yeah.
Sidetrack. Anyone else do this? Do you do this?
I don't.
When you're measuring? No?
I don't know.
Oh, I do. I just sit there and measure jeans like this.
No. That's a good idea.
I feel like an old lady, but it's okay. I tape it to the table when I'm doing plush. That's why there's tape on it. I tape it so I can display the plushies. But you can use these too, I guess, huh?
Uh-huh. Mine goes missing often because my 6-year-old likes to use it for tying things up.
That's fun.
And then I say, you're affecting mommy's business, so stop it.
I love making mystery boxes. So back on topic. That was some good bullet journal advice, though.
You do look like serious with that. Mm-hmm.
If you have a good following on Instagram, which I believe you do, Jay, you can try on there. And let me make myself a note for Monday. I'll give you another shout out on my Instagram that I got the Build-A-Bears from you and send people your way. And hopefully that'll give you a little bit of credibility.
Speaking of, just because we're people who like a deal, you guys know about the Build-A-Bear birthday club, right? No. So at Build-A-Bear, in your birthday month, you pay the cost of the bear of the age that you're turning. So when my son was turning 4, we paid $4 for the bear. Of course, they work to upsell you because you're going to want the clothes and whatnot. And we put a heart in it and a sound box, but it is so cheap. If you have grandkids or kids, take them, get them a bear for their birthday month.
I wish I wasn't old.
I know. I'm like, why do I want to spend $40 for a Build-A-Bear?
Well, I'll be 46 in May.
Oh, happy early birthday. That's
Thank
very far away.
But I'm
You're
like,
like your half birthday right now.
I'm thinking like there is a special Doctor Who one I've been looking at, but it's already $50. I'm like,
That's why I
$4.
put in, the asterisks if you have kids or you have grandkids, because I already know we're not going to want to pay our age for the bear.
If you have a Red Robin in your area and you
Yum.
sign up for the club, you can get a free hamburger whether you're 50 or 10.
Oh my gosh, I have such a good hack for that. So you know how everything falls on the same day? I splay out my birthday. So like Dunkin' Donuts thinks my birthday is November 1st. Starbucks knows my actual birthday. And then it's a really good idea. Clubs like Sephora or like ones that you get discounts, set them for December 1st so that you get the discount going into the holiday season so that you can use those coupons for discounts when you're buying people's gifts.
And none of these places ask you to prove your birthday.
Right.
That wasn't a question. That was a statement. Because when I signed up for Red Robin, my friend kept pushing me because I love hamburgers. And I did it the last time we went for lunch, and I just did it on the little kiosk. It just says, when's your birthday? I'm like, May 9th. They didn't even ask for a year, driver's license. So
my mom had a very tough delivery, especially because I was supposed to be born October 10th and I wasn't born until October 25th. I think now they don't let you go more than 2 weeks and then they'll induce you.
I'm very jealous of your birthday.
Really? Because it's so close to Halloween? Yeah, Halloween feels like my holiday. This time of year, like Halloween week up until the end of December just feels like crazy because it's just all the holidays happening all at once and my birthday being one of them.
Man, I'm so jealous. I have friends that have been born on Halloween, and I'm like, I hate you.
We have Halloween birthday parties. It's a good time.
God,
Although I do
you.
believe that Halloween should be moved to the last Saturday of every October. Like it should change, just like Thanksgiving changes.
I think we should have more than one Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could have, instead of Valentine's Day, you could have another Halloween.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Even, my viewers know that. I get so jealous. Now, mine's always associated with Mother's Day. Every 3 or 4 years, my birthday lands on Mother's Day. And my youngest son, who's 19, I went into labor on my birthday on Mother's Day. But he was a preemie, and they were going to try to make me wait.
Oh my gosh.
So I was in the hospital for 2 days while they gave me the medication that stops the labor. And they finally were like, no, it's not. He wants to come out. So they had to do an emergency C-section. But I was like, you couldn't have done this 2 days ago, because how cool would that have been?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's 19 now. So ever since he was born, we celebrate our birthday together on Mother's Day. Wherever it lands, it's our birthday.
That's sweet.
Yeah. But I still would rather have a Halloween birthday. I'm thinking about this in several different ways.
Who's your favorite serial killer? Go. Just kidding.
Well, I almost answered.
I'm intrigued now.
So the reason, let me explain myself to people who may not watch me or have followed Sarah here and think this woman is nuts in her Michael Myers shirt talking. In another lifetime, had I made different choices coming out of high school, I would have been a criminal profile. I don't know that I would have made it as high as like the FBI, which would have been a goal. That's what I wanted. But I would have been a forensic psychologist. And I would definitely work with criminals. I would definitely work with serial killers. The reason being, I am fascinated not by what they do and how they hurt people, but I'm fascinated by how different their brains are than ours. I'm obsessed. Like, I can't stand it. Like, I want to know why. Is it the nurture? Is it the nature? Is it how they were brought up? And the fact that they can look at you and tell you, well, I stabbed her 80 times and then put her in the woods, the same way Sarah would tell me, well, I found the dress at the thrift. So it just really, really fascinates me. And it's the psychology. It's not like the actual violence. And I also like to see, like, I watch a lot of true crime on cold cases where they finally solve it. I do like to see people finally coming to justice for what they've done wrong. So the one that fascinates me the most is Ed Kemper.
Hmm.
And we won't go into why.
I don't know enough about him. I don't watch enough of those things, but I can appreciate why you're fascinated by them as a therapist. People's minds are fascinating.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. And when you listen to the right true crime podcasts, I don't like My Favorite Murder. I don't think they research. I think they read Wikipedia and they don't research enough. And everybody's going to come at me now with hate for saying that. But I don't think they take it seriously enough. But if you listen to the ones that really do, there's some that have psychologists on the podcast. And they delve into their childhood and the nurture versus nature, and they tell you what happened to them and how they ended up being who they are. And those are the kinds of things I like to listen to.
Yeah, these are people with major attachment issues.
Yes. So Ed Kemper had a lot of issues with his mother. Most of them do. I had 2 close friends whose birthdays are on Halloween and 2 on New Year's Eve, and 1 in September. So yeah, my second son, unfortunately, I went into labor on 9/11. Nope. I shouldn't say he's my second one. He's the one I haven't told you about. He's my oldest. But I didn't tell you about him yet. He was born on the 13th, though, because again, he was pre-me. So
my mom's birthday is September 11th, and my dad's is September 10th, and they're a day apart. And when the Twin Towers were attacked, my mom was like, I'm changing my birthday. And my dad was like, to hell you are. Your birthday has been the day after mine for 50 years.
Yeah, it was definitely here. You want to take a turn for the dark. I can actually remember laying in the hospital bed with this new baby, breastfeeding, with everything on the news. I actually had like survivor guilt or like just guilt because I had this new life. And there were so many people that were lost and devastated. And it was a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Especially, and you compound it with postpartum.
I had a similar experience, but like not to that level where I felt guilty. Just like I felt like, how am I responsible for this life in this world? Because shortly after my son was born was the shootings in Vegas at the concert. And that was like the biggest mass shooting on American soil or something. And yeah, crazy.
All right. So we are going to start wrapping this up.
Now that you've heard it all, the dark, the light, and everything in between.
Yep. And now you get my favorite question.
Okay.
I ask everybody that comes on here this question. It's my favorite to ask. And I love all the different answers I get. So I want to know your thoughts and feelings about people accusing resellers of being part of the problem, stealing from the poor, being the reason the thrift is raising the prices, and lazy, sleazy, greedy buttheads.
For lack of a better term. Well, I know that Tiff was on here earlier, and I know she was on here last week. And I think what I'm going to say is probably similar to what she says, which is there's plenty to go around. There's more than enough. Just like you showed that clip of me sharing what I knew in the thrift, I think that there's an opportunity for all of us to come up. I don't think that it needs to be competitive. And I think that we really win when we celebrate one another. I think the people who target that kind of dialogue are people who are jealous or concerned that they won't have enough. And I think lack mindset doesn't set you up for success for anything in this life. But I think it's really disappointing when I see how much is left, even at the ends of like a bins haul, knowing that it's not going to find a place where it's used again, or at least useful in the way that we would hope. Yeah. Which Jay said, so much waste in our country.
I think part of the jealousy too, and I said this when Tiff was on, is folks look at us doing something for ourselves, hustling, making the money, not in a toxic environment, not clocking in and commuting, and they're jealous.
I think it's just crazy when no one has anything to say about like Goodwill. Goodwill got that for free 99 and they're making a profit off of it. And no
Free
one's
99. I love it.
free 99 and they have no issue with this big corporation doing it, but it's a lot easier to attack one person, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the same when people accuse me of, I price high and I always preach about not racing to the bottom. You're greedy. Do you go to Walmart and tell them selling their 1 cent Valentine's bear for $40 is greedy? We're doing exactly the same thing big businesses do. You buy low, you sell high.
They're
And at
just
the end of
mad
the
at
day,
general
I have
meeting.
bills to pay and I'm going to pay them.
Misplaced aggression. They're mad at
You're not going
general.
to pay my bills. Don't worry about how I'm paying them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I do want to
But
comment
the
to
people
this.
who are doing better than you are not going to be the people who ever have anything to say about it. It's people who are not at your level of success, right?
Yes. With the asterisk of narcissists. There are some people who are doing better than you that would like to remind you consistently that they're better than you.
Yeah. Healthy people.
There's toxic people no matter where you go, but I want to comment about this real quick. Because we're on my favorite topic. So John Walsh, the host of America's Most Wanted, actually had his son abducted and murdered in the 80s. And it was a very famous case. They did find only part of the body. I won't tell you. And it was eventually, it was a cold case. And eventually a well-known serial killer on his deathbed in jail did confess. So they said it was him, but there's still all kinds of conspiracy. So if you like true crime and you're interested in it, Google Adam Walsh, John Walsh's son, and you can get all into the rabbit hole of all the conspiracy theories and who really murdered his son. But this was in the early 80s, and he was kidnapped in a store right in front of his mother in a department store. And I mean, she turned her back for like a second to pay for something or something. But the whole reason America's Most Wanted was started was because that was John's way of coping with his son being murdered and like advocating and giving back and helping other victims. Mm. And you find that a lot in true crime too. Let me say that. You find that a lot in true crime too. There are a lot of good out of the bad. Like I watched the story of Amber, the girl behind the Amber Alert, and she was murdered. And her mother is a huge advocate and speaks out and helps other victims. So sometimes there's, like someone said today on the show I was watching, it's sad, but sometimes one person has to die to save 1,000 because they implement 911 because that wasn't always a thing. They implement the Amber Alert. They implement America's Most Wanted. Okay, I'm off my true crime soapbox. I get so excited though because I know stuff. I feel so valid. You should feel validated every single day, Jay. The way you pack your packages, you know everybody's happy when they get your stuff. Yeah, Adam Walsh. So I got 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
I'm
ready.
And I have to preface them with my usual little spiel about how I feel work and life balance is so super important. If you're a workaholic, you are not mentally healthy. You are no good to yourself. And if you're no good to yourself, you're no good to anybody else, even your business. You have to be mentally healthy. But if you fiddle fart around too much and you're not working enough, then you're not making enough money. So there has to be a balance. Mm-hmm. And that's super important to me. I talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. So what do you do to unwind?
Oh, I love this question. Well, I did mention at the beginning of this that I do have 3 different ways that I earn, which also helps me to like, I don't know, tap into different areas of my brain. But recently it has been puzzles. I just finished one last night and it was so satisfying because I don't think I've finished a puzzle in a year that had all the pieces, and this one had all the pieces.
How satisfying.
Yes, it was so good. And I filmed it. It went on my Instagram stories, putting in the last piece, which felt like everybody was doing it with me. 2 is I play Scrabble. When I'm really being serious, I play Scrabble competitively, like in tournaments. I'm actually a member of NASPA, which is the North American Scrabble Players Association, but I play online on this app called, it's not an app. It's a link. It's like the Romanian club, but it's international. So I play online with strangers, Scrabble, and it just like I love that. It's a different game every single time. And I roller skate. Roller skating for me is self-care. I only feel under the age of 12 when I'm on my roller skates. I love that you love skating.
I have seen videos of you roller skating.
Thank you.
And I can't roller skate because of my back and my coordination, but I enjoy watching you. And I almost feel, because the way you film it, your feet and everything, I just feel like I'm skating with you.
Oh, that makes me really happy.
I love your skating videos. And then when you're filming them yourself, like when you're out with your son and you show the road and your feet, it's ASMR for me. It's like I'm skating with you. But then when you show your little dances that you do with your friends, and those are so cute. I really enjoy watching you skate.
Thank you.
You guys watch Sarah skate. It's soothing.
You never know how you're affecting someone until you hear that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so funny what you said about skate ASMR, because sometimes when I'm skating outside, you remember that sound when you're a kid of like going over slabs of concrete and it's like ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like when I'm skating sometimes. And I'm just like instantly transported back to like riding up driveways with my friends on their bike with the banana seat. One of us would be like in the back of the taxi and somebody's driving the taxi.
Yes.
Standing on the bike.
Yes. One of my favorite for myself ASMRs, we have beautiful autumns here, like beautiful. Our leaves are pink, orange, yellow, brown, red, like every color. And they'll fall on the road and they're like this deep.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather's like 70 degrees. It's just beautiful. It's my favorite season. It's why I moved back here from Florida, because I wasn't mentally okay without an autumn or Halloween that was autumny.
Yep.
So we walk outside usually for an hour a day until it gets too cold. And then I switched to the treadmill. We're just going to ignore that. So the leaves will pile up like this, and I have to crunch through them.
Oh, such a good noise.
That crunching. But as much as I hate snow, I also like to watch on snow because of that creak noise it makes. That everyone thinks you know what? I am weird. Whatever. I love Scrabble too. I actually wrote down the link she said.
I love that. Yeah, the link, I'll give it to you guys. You can add it, is isc.ro. That's the International Scrabble Club, Romania, but they play in English.
Do you ever play, what's the app where you play with your friends? Words with Friends?
There was Words with Friends, which for me is like the Walmart. Like Scrabble is Target. Again, Words with Friends, I can't strategize as well because they put like the triple word spaces in different and weird spaces. But there's a Hasbro version and a Scopify version on the iPhone.
I have an Android, but
I think it works for Android also, but it like links to your Facebook friends too, so that you can play your Facebook friends.
So I used to play Words with Friends because it was the closest thing I could get to Scrabble.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, I love it because I'm an English nerd. I'm a word freak. I love to read. I love to write. I love the written word. I love big words, small words. I love improving my lexicon every day. That's a triple word. I played 21,800 for Walmart version.
I'm telling you guys, it's like, yeah.
I mean, I'll look at the Hasbro version and maybe I'll get Words with Friends back on here.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll post. If you're not in my Facebook group, join it. Flippin Hippos Reseller Pod.
Okay.
I should tell you guys it's a very positive atmosphere. I know a lot of the Facebook groups for resellers can be very toxic and have that mindset of jealousy and hoarding the knowledge. Not my group. It's by design. The number one rule is don't be a turd. And everyone in there is really helpful. Like, they're so nice. Like, you can't ask any question where they're going to make you feel dumb. They're like, oh, you're new. Okay, well, I was new once too. Here's how you do it. They're like super cool. So join the group. And then I'm going to probably over the weekend or early next week, like make a link in there where we can all connect and do these games together. Thank you, Sarah.
Love it.
Wordy nerdies. I love words.
Same. I'm such a geek about words.
And I love to read. Like I read, it's disgusting. I read from the Libby app, which is the free library app. Because the joke with me, my boyfriend, is if I bought as many books as I read, I would go broke faster than a drug addict. All right, I have one final question, and it's a follow-up to what do you do to unwind? So what are you doing this weekend?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, the weather might spoil my plans because usually on Sunday, I like to take my son to Roll Dance Academy. The guy who runs Roll Dance Academy has been roller skating outside for more than 50 years, and we have choreographed dancing. It's like line dancing on skates. It's so fun. But if it's raining, we will not be doing that. Winterfest is going on right now at Great America, which is related to Knott's Berry Farm. It's right behind my house. So we have passes. So we'll probably go hit up some Winterfest as well. And I feel like there's one other thing. Oh, we'll probably go to the Willow Glen Christmas lights. There's amazing light displays. I honestly feel like their storage units for where they keep their lights are so much bigger than any of our reseller units because one of the blocks has all the reindeer and they're over like 15 feet tall and they go across the lawns. It's amazing. If you live in this neighborhood, like part of your like HOA or whatever is that you must decorate your home for the holiday. And people bring like their pedal pubs and party on a bike and they drive through, and some of the houses like connect to the radio station so that you can see the lights going along with the music. So fun.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, it'll be on my stories. We're going to roller skate there also on Wednesday. So we'll be roller skating in theme.
Let me link it's in the description box too, guys.
The gram.
So Sarah's Poshmark and her Instagram are linked in the description box.
I live in Northern California outside of San Jose. Out that window that way is Levi's Stadium. So we can always hear the 49ers scoring before we see it on TV. You hear the foghorn. And when my son was younger, I'd be like, oh, shoot, he's taking a nap. I hope his sound machine is loud enough.
That's funny.
I'll add you back. Thank you.
So definitely watch her on Instagram. She does a lot of her roller skating videos and you do a lot of stories.
I do a lot of stories.
I live for your stories, by the way. I know I don't comment or say anything, but
Thank
I
you.
watch them all.
Lawyers are welcome.
I'm really bad about that. And I tell a lot of people that. Like, there's so many people I watch and actually like look forward to and appreciate them. And they're such a big part of my life. And then I'm such a butthead. I never tell them or comment or like.
I just love that because I feel like stories allow you to have people in your life that you wouldn't otherwise be able to have in your life every day, right? Like when we see each other at like camp listing party, it's so wonderful. But if it wasn't for like seeing you guys on social media all the time, I'd feel like we're never together.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of stories, but I do try to do, like I put up a picture earlier this week of the Halloween bowl of popcorn I had, and I had the thumbnail with your face that I was working on and said, can you guess who's on my show on Friday? And did you know popcorn tastes better than a Halloween bowl? So I do like to show people pieces of my day. I'm just not, here's the secret. Other than Friday when I go live on YouTube, I look like a homeless troll. I like never leave the house. I'm very reclusive and hermity. And I have my hair up and no makeup. So I don't like to go on camera until
You're here. You're doing the dang thing. It's okay. I spend most of my time in a bonnet, like a sleep bonnet, like you would imagine an old lady to do, because you can't have curly hair and not have a sleep bonnet on. I don't know. If your hair looks this good, then chances are that at least a fourth of the day it is inside a sleep bonnet.
You do have great hair.
Thank you. I'm only 4 years into my curly journey, so I really appreciate that. If any of you guys out there are curly, I have a Facebook group called Quarantine Curls, both spelled with a Q. And we have now over 350 people embracing their natural hair. That was like my big thing that I was pushing for during the pandemic, was helping people, myself included, embrace their natural hair. I used to straighten my hair daily for decades. I didn't know my hair could do this. So I really appreciate that. That's very valid.
The first thing I really noticed about you in person was like, oh my God, her hair is even prettier in person. You have great hair.
That's really nice. Thank you.
You have really great hair. I was going to say something nice about your Poshmark and I forgot. Oh, it's down below. Go stalk her Poshmark. If you guys want to learn like great brands, you know, those of you that have been longtime subscribers on this channel, you know the bread and butter brands. You know how to be a volume seller. And I don't delve into women's blouses or dresses or shoes. So if you want to learn any of that, go stalk Sarah's Poshmark. She's got tons of, actually, I'm going to show it real quick. And then we'll do the last and final words. It sounds like Jerry Springer.
I know.
Do you remember he used to do his final?
R.I.P. Jerry Springer.
See? So you guys can come in here and you can look and go, yeah, I've never heard of Bad Boy. All his flowers jersey thingy. Maybe I should look into that. And remember too that there are brands that she's going to find because she's in California probably more often than we are. But if you look in her closet and you find a bolo and you put that, I wouldn't just put it in your head, write it in something, a notebook, put it in your phone.
Save it. You can pin your brands and it will notify you as they're coming
so
up.
When you're out at the thrift, you can be like, this sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, that's a bolo. All right. Oh, look. Everyone likes your hair.
Thank you, guys. That's really nice.
All right. So, do you have any final words for the people? Words of wisdom, I should say.
Yeah. I just want to say, and this is like my theme of life, like stay consistent, especially these times where it's Q4. We have specific goals or numbers. We may have outperformed ourselves last year and maybe it's not doing as well, or maybe it is doing as well. Like whatever it is, keep your nose to the ground, stay consistent, whether you're thriving or whether you're surviving, because you're letting the universe know what you need more of.
Those are good words.
Thank you.
So I just want to send a heartfelt thank you to everyone that joined us live today. All of our time is so valuable. So I do absolutely appreciate when people take the time to join us. Even if you're working while you're listening, you're still with us and you could be listening to anything else. So thanks for choosing us. And if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you too. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. It really does help my channel in the algorithm, just like constantly sharing on Poshmark helps your listings. The thumbs up helps. And you guys know what I'm going to say next because I say it every Friday. Make sure that you find a balance this weekend and take some time for yourself. Don't just work all weekend, even if it's only 20 minutes to go for a walk or 15 minutes to soak in a nice hot tub or, you know, watch one episode of a television show you really like. Watch a Christmas movie. It's that time of year. But take some time out for yourself because if you are not taking care of yourself, you are no good for yourself, your business, your family, your friends, or your pets. And pets are the most important. So spend some time with your family, your friends, your pets, your loved one this weekend. Take care of yourself. Don't forget to work a little bit too. Find that balance. And thank you again so much for watching us. And Sarah, thank you for coming. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, you too. I had fun. This was just like hanging out with a friend.
Samesies.
So,
I will be watching Tiffany's back too because Tiff is my PFF for life.
Yes, I actually talked real quick. We'll say this live, so I'll put you on the spot. I did talk to Tiff after we were live last week and said I wanted to have you guys on here separately because I feel like a lot of people PFF you and interview you together, and I wanted you as individuals.
I appreciate that, but I will say this, and I think maybe singletons can agree with this. Like if you've never had a twin and you wonder what it's like to have a twin, I think the fact that Tiff and I are often paired together makes me feel like I have the twin that I've never had. So that makes me really happy.
Well, I do want to have you both back on a panel.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
So I want to do as individual people, but then I want to have, I talked about with Tiff, like a Poshmark themed panel with the three of us.
I'm so jealous that Jay is going to see Wonka tonight. It is top of my list. My favorite movie of all time is the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I've heard amazing things about Wonka. I saw that Manal saw it. She styles just for you.
Mhm.
And I'm saving it for Christmas because we're Jewish. So we always go to movies on Christmas. So I'm saving it, but it's going to be really hard to save.
I know. I have 2 free movie tickets. Because the last time I went to the theater, it was a Marvel movie. I can't remember what it was, but it cut out in the middle, and then we had to sit and wait while they rethread, like they got the movie.
It broke down like a Disney ride that someone was streaking on.
So we all got free movie tickets as we were leaving. We're sorry. I'm pretty sure it was Marvel. I don't remember because we only go to the theater for like big things, like new Marvel, Star Wars, horror movies. And I go alone because Keith doesn't. I was an only child, y'all. I can go to a restaurant alone and sit and read a book. I don't care. All right. We got off on another tangent. Everybody go watch Wonka.
We're enjoying it. Well, Jay enjoyed Wonka. I can't wait to see it. Ugh.
Yeah, I want to see it too. All right, guys, go have a good weekend. We have 1 week till Christmas and the cutoff for shipping. I should have added this before. December 19th is the cutoff for your sales to reach the people before Christmas. So you got 4 days really left.
Oof.
Bust your ass, but find the balance. Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye. Thank you.